Hello heroes and villains, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to take a look at the changes that were made to the robot sidekick. So let's get this party started. So basically they've made an update to the robot sidekick ability. We still have the old robot sidekick the way it used to be, but now they've also added a Exobyte-Attuned robot sidekick version, which is basically a version that is attuned to your powers. So in this case I'm using Quantum, so I'm going to summon the Quantum version of the robot sidekick. So basically, it's all robot sidekick has a new skin, and depending on the power you use, the skin will be different. And as you saw, as I summoned it, let's unsummon him again. So this, depending on the power you use, there will be different effects as you summon or unsummon the robot sidekick. I'm told that the new version of the robot sidekick does a bit more damage than the regular version. Some people mention it makes roughly 10% more damage. I didn't do the math. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. Of course, you can still use the classic robot sidekick, but I'm pretty sure that if the new robot sidekick does do extra damage, most people will actually use the new robot sidekick. But you still have access to the classic robot sidekick if you want to. We are going to take a look at all the skins for the robot sidekick, but first, let's go try it out in battle. So let's use the combat parser and let us summon a robot sidekick. Let's target the middle guy. I won't really crunch the numbers, but I will let the robot attack for a bit, and then we'll compare the numbers. So it seems to back for roughly 5400, 52. So roughly between 51 and 5400. Or more. So let us unsummon him. So for 52 attacks, you can see the amount of damage he did. So let us switch to the other version of the robot sidekick. Now let's summon the Exobyte-Attuned version. Let's select the middle guy again. And let's get this party started. So it seems fairly similar. Let's unsummon him. So you can see the amount of damage it did for 44 hits. Ooh, we have the Batman who laughs here. First time I've noticed that. And just next to my Batman who laughs statues. Sometimes there's a synchronicity. So we saw the robot sidekick in action with the quantum powers. Let's take a look at the other powers. In no specific order, let's start with the Earth power. So you can see it kind of gives some sort of, it kind of looks more like the magma than the terrestrial material. Although it's been a while since I saw the terrestrial material, or maybe the terrestrial chroma. And you can see when you attack in battle, you can see it creates, you can see how different the shield is. You'll see each pet has a different shield ability. It's probably the same ability, it's only the visuals that are different. And if you use Earth powers, you cannot use a brick and this robot sidekick at the same time. So you will have to make a choice. Either you use your friend brick, or if you play DPS, you'll want to use a crystal, or you use the robot sidekick. You're going to have to choose which one you want to use. I'm not sure why it didn't work. Let's try it again. And you can see as you summon and unsummon it, usually there's a little special effects that happens with your little robot sidekick. And the effect will be different depending on which power you use. Like here, if we take a look at the fire, so you can see when you summon him with fire, it does create a pretty big flame effect. And again, you can see the material. It's not really the scorching material. Looks more like the scorching chroma material, which is fine. It works well. It is themed for the fire power. So you will be able to get robot sidekicks that fits with the power of your character. So if somehow the robot sidekick did not fit with the theme of your character for whatever reason, the new version of the robot sidekick might fit a bit better, seeing how the skin is made to fit with your power. And again, when you unsummon it, it does create pretty cool visual effects in some cases. Some visual effects are a bit more flashy than others. So here again, it looks more like the chromo material than the actual, I forget the name of the material in this case. And of course, again, when you go into battle, oh, I forgot to remove the Grimoire Enverum. So you can see what the shield looks like with sorcery. The Grimoire Enverum should not be there. I forgot to unequip the artifact. And again, you can see the effect when you unsummon it. And now we switch to electric. Again, you saw the big burst as we summon it. And you can see it does look like the sparking material, or maybe more like the sparking chroma. Normally the sparking material would cover everything. There is some contrast with the sparking chroma. Here the shield is a bit more subtle, but again, it kind of looks like the electric shield power that we have for players. Although here it doesn't seem to attack it quite as much. And I'm not sure why it went this high. They all seem to react a tiny bit different. I'm not sure if it's intended or if it is some sort of happy accident. Oh well. Again, when you unsummon it, you saw the big burst of electricity. So here you can see with gadget powers. So again, here it looks like the mechanized chroma more than just the mechanized material. And you can see, I should summon its shield. And you can see the little shield over here. If you've been using gadget powers, you saw that shield before. It kind of looks like when you use a neutralizer. And when you unsummon it, again, it has a flashy effect. And here we get to celestial powers. Celestial powers are a bit particular. There's basically two sides of the same power. There's an evil side and a good side. So the evil side, you can see here, this is the evil version of the power, and you can see the material accordingly. When we switch to the good side, you'll see the good side uses the glorious material. And of course, this is my evil Batman, Black Lantern Batman, of course. And I'm using my friend the Spectre for the good side. So here you can see it's the glorious material. Or the glorious chroma material, I should say again. So even though they're both using a celestial, depending on if you are a hero or villain, you will get a different skin for your robot sidekick. So this is the hero skin, and of course the evil Black Lantern Batman had the villain skin.
Does this make us bros? I've always wanted to be Brainiac.
And here we have the robot sidekick for ice powers. Although you can see it's quite different from the Arctic material, it's actually more like the Arctic chromo material. So if you have some of the power materials and the robot sidekick doesn't quite match with your character, I guess if you really want to match it perfectly, you are going to have to use some of the chromo materials. There's also chromo materials for each of the powers. At this point, you will have to look on the broker, although we should have a Resurgence Mega Capsule soon enough. Once in a while, we get a new Resurgence Mega Capsule, so we should be able to get those materials then. And here you saw with Nature Powers, when you summon it, it creates a whole bunch of leaves. The same when you unsummon it. Let's summon it again. So it's kind of like the wild aura, a mixture of the wild material and the wild aura, I suppose. Although it's probably the wild chromo material, it doesn't matter. And when you attack, again, you'll see the shield is a bit different than the rest. He's so nice. He got in front of our Beast Boy in order to protect him. And again, when you summon it, you see a whole bunch of leaves. Here we have the nuclear power. So it kind of looks like the nuclear chromo material. I probably should have equipped the nuclear chromo material. I have it on this character. Oh well, maybe next time. So as you can see, some of the shields are a bit more flashy or a lot more visual effects than others into them, built into them. I wants to take the spotlight. That reminds me how much I love using end blasters. So again, here you can see some of the shields have a lot more particles, a lot more visual effects built into them. In some cases, you might like to have this many effects, but yeah, you may decide to go for a robot sidekick that has a simpler effect. But obviously, it is linked to your power, so depending on which power you have no choice. You have to use a robot sidekick that comes with your power. Here we can see with water powers. So again, it's pretty much the water chromo material. And of course, he's using a big water shield, of course. So obviously the visual effects kind of match with the visual effects of the power. And in this case, the visual effects will look like a water. And here we're using munitions. Although technically this pretty much became a Jason Todd character, but it started as a Redwood character, but I had to give him a Robin armory. I had to. So you can see the robot sidekick has this sort of camouflage skin that goes with munition powers. And here you can see the shield is kind of nice. And here we have our friend Martian Manhunter with mental powers. Obviously this is pretty much the mental chromo material. And when it comes to the shield for the robot, it's not like the shield that you have when you use mental powers. And unlike some of the other shields, as you saw, it doesn't have a lot of visual effects. So it looks fairly simple by comparison. But again, if you don't like to have a whole bunch of visual effects cluttering your screen, this is a great option. Then we have the Green Lantern power. So obviously you can see that it looks like the glowing chromo material. It could kind of pass for a green construct that your character created that follows him around. And the shield is kind of neat. It's not like some of the shields we saw. I believe it's Jon Stewart who uses that kind of shield in Legends. Or in some of the missions when you actually have to fight against or with Jon Stewart. Again, I love using it blasters. And of course, this is on the hero side. On the hero side, you will use the Green Lantern powers. But on the evil villain side, obviously, you are going to be an evil Yellow Lantern. And the robot sidekick will look accordingly. Again, it's going to be the sinister chromo material. And even the shield is, as you saw, quite different. And last but not least, the Red Lantern power. Again, it pretty much looks like the first chromo material. But like the other lanterns, it could kind of look like a Red Lantern construct that follows your character around. And you can see even the shield is slightly different compared to the Green Lantern or the Yellow Lantern ones. I should probably mention that there's a new pet artifact that kind of helps the robot sidekick. We have the new Mercy Amazon Matrix that is made for DPS role, but it is DPS role if you actually use pets. I will try to upgrade the artifact as soon as I can, and once I do upgrade it, I'll try to make a video about it. With the latest artifacts, the dev have been a bit sneaky. Way back when with the previous artifacts, very often what people would do is that they would upgrade the artifacts only up to rank 120, 140, maybe 160 at the most, and they would pretty much have all the abilities that the artifact were giving. In this case, they made sure that you would get the best abilities once you upgrade the artifact to rank 200. So they pretty much make sure that you will upgrade your artifacts to rank 200, So my guess is that's probably why they did give a bit of an upgrade to the robot sidekick. They were probably planning to release this artifact, so they wanted to give, let's say, an extra reason for people to make sure that they would get this artifact and that they would upgrade it to rank 200. But it is for a character that uses pets, and it is for a DPS character. If you try to use it with a tank, like an earth tank, it doesn't work quite as well. With an earth tank, you will want to use a brick, and sadly, brick doesn't benefit as much from this artifact. So in a nutshell, the robot sidekick allows pretty much everyone to have a pet, not unlike Fury or not unlike Crystal. And you will have a pet that is themed to the power of your character. So there you go, guys. So we got a bit of an upgrade to the robot sidekick. Already, robot sidekick was a popular option. A lot of people were using it quite a lot. And now with the artifact and with the Exobyte-Attuned robot sidekick, I'm curious to see if even more people will start using the robot sidekick. I guess we'll have to wait and see.